Hello! This orange face was brought to you by my sister Calissa. Yes, Calissa, you are the reason why my face is orange. Why? Because of this beautiful salt rock lamp thing. Thank you for it, by the way. It really does provide the perfect nightlight as I'm sleeping so I could see a little bit around me. It's so awesome. I appreciate it. Another topic. Speaking of being in my room, my husband spent 2 hours in my room today. Probably more, like 3 hours probably in my room. An hour straight after work, and then 2 hours between 10 and midnight. And the only thing he was doing the first hour was talking to me. We were just talking. It was good, productive conversation, thank goodness. And the last 2 hours, he was just playing Pokemon on my bed with Brooklyn. Like, he was just chilling and relaxing and just being cool. I don't know. Thought it was interesting. I had nothing to do with him being in here. I wasn't engaged in the conversation. I wasn't, he wasn't in here for me. He was just, and so I mentioned later, well, jeez, dude, why were you on my bed for 2 hours? He was like, I don't know. And I go, you must like my room that much, huh? He's like, yeah. Like he likes the energy, I guess, like when everyone congregates around mom and the, positive vibes and the, the music and that energy and flow and all that stuff. It just feels good, I think. That's just my opinion, that he just likes my energy. The kids do too. They're constantly flocking around me. Next subject. I don't blame you for wanting to quarantine yourself from Ashley. You're extremely, you're valid. Your worry-warting points about COVID are very valid and warranted. I was invited to a webinar meeting hosted by the Maricopa County Department of Health and Affairs. I don't know what department it was, but basically, because I've had a really intricate role at work with all these people who are calling and requesting rental assistance and financial assistance and utility assistance and all that stuff, because I've had a very intricate role in my day-to-day activities, my supervisors invited me to this webinar because of a new program that Maricopa County is unleashing, or they've unleashed it recently. And they're super hopeful, and they think they're going to be able to help a bunch of people, and it's coming at a great time since unemployment is coming to an end. The COVID unemployment is coming to an end, and the rental prevention thing is ending on July 22nd. So all these people are like, at the county have stepped up to create this great plan that they think is going to work. And me, as an employee of something that watched a big shit show 40 hours a week for the last 3 months, I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. Another government department that thinks that their program is going to work really well, and they don't understand that what's failing all these applicants is that they're not hiring enough people to review the applications quickly. There are over 800 applications pending in the Glendale office alone for some type of assistance, and even if they called 25 people back a day, those, just 200 of them would not be called back for another 8 weeks. Just 200 of them would not be called back for 8 weeks. 8 weeks from today, if they called 25 a day. The 800 or more that has been waiting, oh my gosh. They've been waiting since April for a callback. Most of them have been waiting since May, because they did call some people back in April, right? But our office, the office that I was working for, had to close for 3 weeks, and they lost half of their crew. And I was part of the crew that had to continue to answer calls while half of the office was out because they had a COVID scare, and they closed their office for 3 weeks. So they got so much further behind. This is not just in Glendale. This is like throughout the whole entire state. If I knew somebody at Arizona Central or one of the big newspapers, if I could just secretly tell people my side of this story, I think it would blow up big. And I'm sure they'd have to have some sort of credible source of information. And if I gave them my name, I'd probably be fired for sharing too much. But that is how much of a whistleblower I fucking want to be on this. This is nuts. It's nuts that there's over 800 applicants that have not been called back. Several of them from April and May. Everybody understands if you applied in June, maybe that's a little too soon to expect a call back in July. But April and May, and even if you tried to call 200 of those people back and reached 25 people back a day, it would still take 8 weeks to get those 200 people called back. Just, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm reiterating this like over and over again in my head, and it just bothers me to my core. And okay, let me explain to you why it bothers. Let me explain to you why it bothers me so much. Imagine a child coming to you with their hands held out, and they say, I'm hungry, I need help, I'm hungry. And you look at them and you say, oh sweetie, I'm so sorry. Here, I don't have any food right now, but I'm going to give you this ticket. This ticket has a number. Your number is 1346. 1346. That means there's 1,345 people ahead of you. And when your number gets called, then we will give you food. So when you hand them that ticket, you not only give them hope, but you give them a promise. Okay? Now, the people I spoke to were not children. The people I spoke to were not hungry. Well, maybe they were. They weren't asking for food. They were told to call the city of Glendale. They have monies, millions of dollars that were provided by the state and the federal to help with rent and utilities. They were told. And when they called, they either got a busy signal or a voice recording or me, Crystal. And when Crystal answers the phone, Crystal wasn't told what to say other than, I can take your name and phone number, and if you want to apply and get your documents turned in, then you will get a special number and people will be called in the order in which their documents were received. But if you don't get all your documents in, they're not going to call you back. Or if they do call you back, it's going to be delayed because you didn't get all your documents in. So get all your documents in so you're not delayed to getting help. I told hundreds of people this. I gave hundreds of people hope. I gave hundreds of people a promise. Every single day I was telling them, somebody will call you back. Just do this, and somebody will call you back. And when they didn't get a call back, after a month, after 2 months, after 3 months, and they keep calling me back. They call me back every week or every other week or every month. I've talked to them before. I have notes about them before. I have it tracked. I have it data. It's going up to the 4th floor. The 4th floor will get it. The 4th floor is the mayor's office, the city manager's office. They know these people are calling. They can see hundreds of calls coming in. They can see, Crystal, wow, you're taking 100 calls a day and there's 700 calls coming through, but you're only catching 100 of them. We need to get you some more help. I'm all, yeah, you know shit. But as I'm seeing it, I'm seeing that I'm only doing step 1. Who's doing step 2? Oh, we don't have anybody for that right now. Okay, then what are your other people in your department doing? Well, they do step 3 and step 4 and step 5. So why am I doing step 1? Can you guys train me how to do step 2 so that I don't feel like crap for doing step 1? Can I do step 1 and step 2? Can you guys hire people to do step 2? Why isn't anybody calling people back? Why isn't anybody looking at these faxes? Why are faxes being deleted? I told this lady I saw her fax and now I don't see her fax. I know I saw her fax. I saw her fax last week and now I don't see her fax. Who's deleting these? And I can't blow my whistle and it's so political and everyone, and then my boss is telling me that I'm overstepping and I'm working beyond my pay grade and I shouldn't be doing more than I'm told to do, and I'm like, oh my flipping gosh. Breathe. If you can't tell, my job's been pretty stressful. And it's been stressful for a while. I don't like giving people hope and a promise only to know for certain they are not going to give a call back. I felt like a liar and I felt like I knew I was lying. So instead of giving people hope and promises anymore, for the last couple of months, I would say, I'm so sorry that you're in that situation. I'm so sorry that you haven't been able to negotiate something with your landlord and that you haven't been able to secure employment since you lost your job. Or I'm so sorry that you're sick with COVID. Or I'm so sorry that you know someone that is sick with COVID, or that your children can't go to daycare or school and so you have to stay home with them, or whatever their situation is. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And I say it and I say it and I say it. And I say, I'm so sorry. I know they're backed up. I don't know when they're going to get to your application. The best thing I can do is put a note in there and let them know that you've called again. I do encourage you to keep calling though, because every time you call, those numbers keep telling the city manager's office and the city mayor's office that people still need help. And if they look at the data and they look at the numbers and they hear enough people crying about it, maybe they'll finally do something about it. And that's all I could tell people, because they weren't doing anything more. They aren't doing anything more. And even, okay, let me just tell you this part. Right before I went on vacation, they were all freaking out. 3 days before vacation, 2 days before vacation, 1 day before vacation, they were freaking out. Who's going to answer these calls? Who's going to answer these calls when Crystal goes on vacation? We didn't think about this 2 weeks ago when she mentioned it. All right, everyone, crash course. They trained 12 people how to do my job by the time I went on vacation. They trained 12 people how to do my job. Now, granted, let me remind you, they take other calls too. I was only taking CAP calls. I was only taking these calls. So they're not only taking the calls I'm taking, they're taking the utility payments, they're taking business license questions, they're taking sanitation questions, they're taking sewer questions, they're taking all kinds of questions, and they added this one to their bucket of questions they can take. And they also did it because 700 calls were coming through, and I was only catching 100 of them. So they needed more people anyway. So they I'm not saying I did the job of 10 people. I'm saying I was doing the job of one person, and I couldn't do the job efficiently if they needed 7 people to do my job efficiently. Does that make sense? So there should have been 7 of us, and I was going on vacation, so they hurried and hired 12 people so that 12 people could work from home, take those calls along with all the other calls. Why do I keep explaining? All right, so I go on vacation. I'm trying not to stress about work. I finally get to that point where I don't give a crap what's going on. I let it go. I come back. They don't let me take any more calls. They don't make me take any more calls. They don't ask me to take any more calls. Those 12 people that took them while I was on vacation are continuing to take them while I came back from vacation. And they told me I can go back to my regular job without those calls. Why? Because they heard me. They understood me. They know that it was stressing me out to the point where I was starting to go cuckoo. Like I was starting to go nuts with it, where I was going up chains of ladders and demanding answers and demanding what's going on. And I'm probably telling people what I shouldn't be telling people. So they told me not to take any more calls. They told me to take a break. Thank goodness. What am I saying? I'm saying that the Department of Housing has really screwed this up, and so has all of the agencies not hiring people back in March or April when they knew that there was going to be an increase of applicants, and they didn't do anything to try to cover that. They could have hired more, but Glendale had a hiring freeze. The Department of Housing could have offered, I don't know, better support, better training, better something, but they didn't. And they've just allowed thousands and thousands of applicants to come flooding through, promising that they'll get a call back within 3 days, according to their website application, and they're not even getting a call back within 3 months. So, what am I saying? I'm saying, what makes Maricopa County think that they're going to be any better than the Department of Housing? There's still not enough people to call people back. There's still not enough people to review the documents. So it's another shit show waiting to happen. Why am I telling you all this? I don't know. Sorry. You're probably like, Crystal, come on, get on with it. That was a really long subject. I'm sorry. It's just been a really stressful thing, and I haven't really been able to summarize it and get it off my chest because it's been eating at me that I promised so many people a callback, and Crystal lied to me. That Crystal girl, she said, and that Crystal girl, she said. I never told them when they'd get a call back. I knew better than that. I knew better to never tell them when. But I did end the call, giving them as much hope and as much reassurance as possible that someone would call them back. Just send in your documents. We have thousands of documents that have social security numbers, driver's license numbers, lease agreements, financial information, bank statements. We have all this personal information from hundreds, 800 or so folks, and nobody's getting a call back. It makes me start thinking about all those conspiracy theories, wondering if the government is just trying to collect all this data so they can get a handle on, I don't know, personal data, personal information, because they sure as hell got it from 800 folks that were willing to give it. 800 folks that were willing to get it they got nothing in return, not even a damn phone call. It really starts making me think, what the fuck? Who the heck is pulling these strings to not hire people, to do a hiring freeze, to let one person answer all these calls? And they just let everyone drown in their evictions, drown in their utility bills, drown in their stress and their sorrow, and let all those addicts go to their addictions because of the stress that they can't handle. It's whatever. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Can you see it gets me riled up? All right, next subject. I cannot imagine Mom's house having 3 dogs. I cannot imagine Mom holding her attention long enough with those dogs to actually be a good dog owner. I could see her being a good babysitter dog person, like for a weekend or even maybe a week or 2 at a time, but I don't see her being a long-term dog person. Like when she wanted to go up to Oregon recently to go visit Misa, she was worried about her plants, and she talked about bringing her plants over to my house so her plants wouldn't die. What would she do with the dog if she went on a trip? Would she bring the dog with her? Dogs with her? I don't think she's that much of a dog lover. So I'm not trying to pop a bubble in your plan or discourage you from pursuing whatever plan you've got in place. You may have even already talked to Mom about it. I don't see it happening. I know she was like a little bit of a dog person with Izzy, but she even felt free once she got rid of Izzy, right? Isn't Hazel related to Izzy? You still have Hazel, right? Anyway, yeah, and if Ashley's dog is over there with Mom's, then I could see Ashley being the one taking care of the dogs naturally if she's over there. But if Ashley's at work, of course, then Mom would be taking care of 3 dogs. And I don't understand why Doug wouldn't keep his own dog unless it really belongs to Ashley. So I'm just imagining things I don't really know about. Those are just my thoughts. So I don't know. You guys decide it. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. I really don't care what happens. I don't have a preference, is what I'm saying. It's not, I don't benefit, or, well, I guess the only way I'd be involved is if I have to watch a dog or do something to help Mom or something when she asks. And I'm not so sure my dogs would treat your dogs very well, but they are littler, so they might be fine with them. They might not feel intimidated. And don't feel bad about the bad homeowner bit. When Taco died, oh my gosh, Calissa, I could not fathom to love another animal for the longest time. I still have a hard time with it. And it's only been recently that I've opened my heart up to other dogs, but I can't do it for long periods of time because there's something that just irks at me and makes me go, that's enough. I don't know if that makes sense. So I feel like I'm a bad dog owner too. Thank goodness none of the dogs that we have belong to me. They're all the kids' dogs, or Jim's dog, or Trevor's dogs, or they're not my dog. Hi, sweetie.
Hello.
I'm talking to my sister right now.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's okay. So once I just let go that I have to be a specific type of dog owner, then I can let go of the guilt. You guys are providing a home for those dogs, even if they're not super loved. They're not in a shelter, and they're not suffering. So whatever you got to do, just I don't know, treat him like a roommate, I guess. I don't know. And do what you got to do with mom. If mom's open to the idea, great. I'm sure you've already talked to her about it since Monday was when you sent me the polo. I did not have a good day Monday, so sorry about that. I think with the Pollards, that's my last subject I was going to talk about. Grandma kind of screwed me over. I don't know if I told you about that because I can't remember what I said and you didn't mention it, but Grandma took off. Did I tell you that? Grandma did not tell me she was leaving and she just left. So even though she's one of the biggest reasons why I like to go up there and visit, I honestly kind of feel gypped by any real relationship I was hoping to have with her. She didn't seem to be all that concerned with saying goodbye or telling me she was leaving or visiting with me more than she didn't want to hug me, which is fine because of COVID. I'm not trying to take it personally, but I do recognize that's my tendency to kind of take it personally. I'm trying to let it go. Basically, I'm not going to put her on this pedestal like I used to. I have to bring her down just a bit and recognize that the relationship I wanted with her is obviously not the same relationship that she wants with me. So I got to let that go. Kind of the same with Grandpa. He's been a really good person to talk to this last year, but even my last conversation with him, he couldn't get out of his own way to talk to me about anything substantially or meaningful. And all he wanted to do was talk about money and business and success. And even when Matthew was, beaming with pride about his card game that he created and invented, Grandpa just looks at him and says, "So how are you going to make money with that?" And Matthew's like, I don't think about that. I've just made it for fun. And he's like, "Well, you got to figure out some way to make it profitable." And I'm like, "Grandpa, he's just a kid. He wants to make it for fun. He can make it for fun. If he wants to make it for money, then that's even better. But he's only 13, so he didn't want to make it for money. He wanted to make it for fun." So it just kind of put Grandpa in this Mr. Scrooge type of light that made me just, I don't know, take him down from that pedestal a little bit. And then, yeah, the whole family is just cold and kind of in their selfish, me, how am I going to benefit off of the trust, the Pollard family trust that the siblings are all going to fight over. It's not going to be pretty. And I didn't go there with any hopes to bond and spend time with family. I didn't expect that at all. I knew people with COVID fears or not COVID fears or political stresses or family stresses or whatever they were going on, their grief. I did not plan on seeing anybody, really, hardly. It wasn't my intent. We went up there for the hike, and anything extra was just a bonus. So I did not focus on the bonus. I focused on why I was there. And while I was there, all these realities of these pedestals just started coming down. Like, wow, I can't believe how much stock I used to put into coming up here, because I'm not putting stock in it now, and it's just kind of like this reality check. So that's kind of where that was for me. I can't remember anything else that I was thinking about. So I think I'll let you go. Yeah, and I'm not sure if we need to worry about mom. I think worrying about mom puts mom in a vulnerable position. I think we need to just trust that she's going to figure herself out. If you want to work it out with her with the dogs and she likes that idea, that's great. But if you don't get the vibe that she's liking the idea and she's just doing it to please you or doing it to make your life easier, then she's just being codependent, and you know what happens when she's codependent. She gets triggered to drink, she gets triggered to feel sorry for herself, she gets a little childlike. So I would just let her tell you with how she reacts. Like, okay, maybe if she says it like that, if she says it like, okay, maybe it sounds like I could probably do that. Sure, I guess so. When do you want to bring her over? Then you kind of know that that's just how it's probably gonna be somewhere in this unreliable thing. But if she's like, really, you let me? Oh my gosh, yeah, that sounds like fun. Oh wow, you'll pay me too? Wow, okay, yeah, I really like that idea. So kind of just gauge which way she's gonna go with it. Not because I can predict which way she will go with it, but I could predict either of those reactions from her based on the duality that I know about her. And if she gives you that response initially, then you kind of know where her true consequences with it will be. If her where her true heart lies in it. But if she feels like she's doing you a favor, or she feels like she's doing it to make you happy, it's going to backfire on all of us. And that's just how she is. She's super triggered by any kind of codependent things, and I know that she has a hard time recognizing that stuff. Anyways, I'll let you go, and I'll talk to you later. Sorry this was so long. Thanks for letting me just word vomit all over with that whole work story. But yeah, love you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Okay, I completely understand and agree with you about French fries versus cauliflower fries and things like that. Like, me and Jim like to buy this special fancy bread with the special fancy cheese and the special fancy meats when we make our sandwiches. And the only reason why we buy the other kind of meat and cheese and bread is because the kids don't appreciate that expensive stuff. And if they can't really tell the difference between the two, and they don't appreciate it and enjoy it and get kind of excited to eat it, if they kind of just look at it like, we're having sandwiches again, then yeah, I'm gonna make you have the freaking bologna and I don't know if I'm making any sense. Oh, the Kraft single cheese instead of the you know, the sliced gourmet cheese or whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I understand. And I don't want to like deprive them of good stuff. I'll offer it to them, but they seem to always go for the cheap stuff because that's what they're familiar with and that's what they prefer, I guess. So yeah, I buy a variety of things when we buy stuff, and even like the pizzas. When me and Jim get like a California kitchen pizza with the different toppings and stuff like that, we'll get the cheaper ones for the kids that just has the pepperoni, because not that they won't try one of our slices, but they won't appreciate it. So I understand the whole French fry thing. Plus, yeah, don't let them go to waste. And then you mentioned also before that about a second income. I don't know how you guys do it, because I remember how difficult it was when I was working part-time and it was just Jim's income and my part-time income. And then when it was only my income and Jim was working for the school for $10 an hour, it was still 36 hours a week. But it was difficult, and we don't even have the mortgage like you guys do, you know? So I don't know. I'm not saying I like that you plan your meals and that you're really frugal with your money. And yeah, $40, I agree, is expensive for a haircut. The world should balance itself out soon. It's just all going nuts right now. Hell in a handbasket. Okay, so now where's my handbasket, right? I like that joke. Anyway, I've had a kind of an emotional week. I accidentally posted my journal publicly. I didn't mean to do that. I noticed that I was posting my journals just to people that I felt comfortable posting them to, and it got to be to the point where I didn't feel like nobody would say anything or support or comment or like or anything, and it made me just go, then why am I sharing? Why? If I'm going to do a personal journal post for myself, then I might as well do a personal journal post for myself and not filter it, putting that filter in front based on what other people might think of me. So I stopped doing the filtering, like what I would say filtering. Does that make sense? Like, let me put it this way. You saw the post about Matthew and his honesty and his brilliance and all that I posted 1 o'clock last night in the morning. Had I known that I was posting it publicly for everybody to see, I probably would have just done the first paragraph, which was just complimenting the crap out of him. I wouldn't have shed a light to my guilt of being a bad mother, a mother that was hysterical within his presence, a mother that was crying uncontrollably, yelling at his father, as I felt like his emotional abuse crap was just too much. And even though, from an outsider's perspective, Jim being silent, Jim being calm, Jim being the quiet one in that equation, it may look like to my son and to everybody else that I'm the one with the problem and that Jim is completely innocent and maybe even a victim in my hysterics. But passive-aggressive, silent treatments, and stonewalling are all forms of emotional abuse. Jim's emotional abuse has been going on for as long as I can remember, and when you have been exposed to emotional abuse or even physical abuse, no matter what the abuse looks like, the trauma that instills on a person from the constants of it, the repetition of it, it causes a complex PTSD type of reaction in a person, which causes me to look hysterical. It causes me to look like I'm imbalanced. It causes me to look like I cannot emotionally regulate my feelings. It makes me look like I'm the crazy one. And it causes damage to my children because of what it looks like I'm doing to their dad. So I would not have shed a light on all of those things that make me look like I'm the crazy one, and pointing out my guilt in what it did to Matthew and made him ask me not to fight in front of him. He has every right to ask me not to fight in front of him. But the space and the head place and the emotional whatever I was in, I was not in my right mind. I cannot be in my right mind when I'm having a PTSD episode. My PTSD episodes from my husband's emotional abuse caused me to feel very sorry, I'm getting up. Alexa, turn on Tinkerbell light. Whoa, that was bright. It causes me to feel very unsafe, and I have a really hard time finding my grounding, finding my footing, being grounded, finding foundation, like feeling like I'm in solid ground. Am I making any sense with my words? Sorry. Jim's behavior is not an excuse for me to react poorly. I agree, and I'm not saying that Matthew is wrong for asking me what he asked me. I just would not have shed a light on it, is all I'm saying. I would have not made it public for everyone to see. And I know more people saw it than the few that commented or the few that liked it. I think you were one of them that liked it, if I remember correctly. But as soon as I realized that it was public, I hurried and shut that shit down, and I felt bad about it. Now I can't remember why I brought this up. Why did I bring this up? shoot, I got up and my brain is in a different spot now. Hold on, I brought it up. I was laying like this and I was thinking to myself, oh, my personal journals, I don't make public anymore because if I knew they were going to be public, then I don't say everything I really want to say. I don't say everything that I'm truly thinking and feeling. I filter it just enough to make it acceptable, to make people like it, to make people feel like they can relate. It's a very false representation of who I am underneath what I'm posting. And I don't mean to be false. It was a very positive post for several years. Every day I would do, right? It wasn't fake, but it wasn't the full truth. That's probably the best way to say it. It wasn't all of me. I want to practice being all of me before I choose who gets to see all of me. And I don't choose people to see all of me right now, right? Because I am still scared of what they think. I am still scared of what they're going to react like. I am still nervous on how I'm going to be perceived. And I was not expecting anyone to see that side of me, that hysterical, feeling like a bad mom for screaming at his dad side of me. I wasn't ready for that. So I've kind of freaked out for that one, and even for other ones that I've posted. If you notice, I don't post every day publicly. I actually hardly post publicly anymore at all. And all of my things are privately hidden, and nobody quite understands why I even bother to keep posting. But Facebook, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm explaining and you're like, why are you explaining to me? I'm explaining just to get it off my chest and out of my head. So feel free to just ignore and disregard if it's not something you can understand or relate to. But I think you can understand to the point where I've always documented what's going on, right? From the moment my children showed up in my womb, I was making pregnancy journals and diaries and doing some sort of journaling all the time. I've always been a documenter. I've always been a historian of my own life. I've been like that since I was 9 years old. So when Facebook came around and 2012 was my pivotal year of recognizing that I was a very negative person. I didn't realize how negative I was until I was looking back on all my Facebook posts from 2010 and 2011 and 2012. And on April 20th, 2012, on my birthday, I made a conscious decision to stop that, to stop using Facebook as my platform to be negative. And I don't mean that I wanted to be fake. I wanted to stop being negative. So my sister told me to challenge myself. She challenged me to find something that I was grateful for every single day. And I could write it down in a journal. I could post it on Facebook. I could just call her up and tell her what it was, send her a text message, whatever. She really thought that me finding one thing to be grateful for every day, whether I shared it with her or not, would help me get out of my own way, would help me stop being so negative about the world around me. And she was right. At the end of the day, no matter how bad my day was, I forgot, I need to text her my positive. And so on April 20th, instead of just sending it to her, or instead of just writing it down somewhere and losing track of that challenge and not having any accountability with it, I made it a point to myself to post one picture every day on my Facebook page, something that I was grateful for. And you've watched that over the years. You've watched it morph into grateful, 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 365 days a year, to the point where I was out of my negativity into my gratitude, and now I'm ready to do the hard work. Now I'm ready to journal about what's going on with me. Now I'm ready to be honest and free with my words and articulate what I'm going through. And I still look for things I'm grateful for. I haven't stopped that. That's a very good habit that I've gotten into. But I don't need to post happy things all the time. I don't need to be Mrs. Positive all the time. I don't need to show the world how great everything is when people know how crappy it is behind the scenes. I wasn't trying to be fake or phony with it. It was really my challenge to myself to find one thing I was grateful for. And even if I couldn't find a single thing, there was always something. There was always at least the ceiling fan that was keeping me cool. And I would take a picture of the ceiling fan. I don't know how many times I've taken a picture of the ceiling fan. Or I would take a picture of something I ate, or something cool that I was drinking on a hot day. Or take a picture of the dog that was being cute. Like, the other great thing, I don't know if I've showed you these, the other great thing about my journals is putting them on Facebook provided a very easy way for Shutterfly to grab the photos, and I could create photo books rather quickly and easily. And so it also helped me create these scrapbooks, so that not only do I have my journals in bright, beautiful, colored photo books, they're also memory keepers for my children. Like when we first got Storm, and Matthew was just a few years younger than he is now, and I've got 4 books for every year. So I've got the 3 months of 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I haven't started putting 2020 in a book yet, but each quarter has its own book. And I'm not like bragging about it. I'm just really proud of my intention of getting out of my negativity, turning it into positive, and now I'm taking my positive self and turning it into my better self, and turning it into my truthful self, and turning it into I'm getting out of my own way and standing up for myself instead of just allowing people to control me and letting circumstances control me all the time. Wow, I didn't know I needed to say all that. Sorry, that just kind of all blurted out. So what am I saying? I'm saying sometimes you're going to see stuff publicly and sometimes you're not. And if I decide to share it publicly, it's because I either made a big mistake or because I'm comfortable sharing this with the people that are on my Facebook page. But I wasn't comfortable sharing what I shared last night. And now that people have seen it, it kind of makes me panic a little bit. And Jim was this is why Facebook's bad. This is why you shouldn't be posting accidentally on Facebook, because you shouldn't be posting on Facebook at all, because you might accidentally post something you didn't mean to post. And I'm like, you know, dude, you don't get it. You don't understand why I do this. And so because I was so much more inclined to agree with how he was really treating me, you know, about it, or I should say talking down to me about it, I had to get this out right now and tell you all of my thoughts and feelings about it, because I was sitting here stewing and doubting my honesty that I'm speaking. No, I need a place. I need a place. I need an outlet to practice my honesty. Facebook has been that for me. I've done poetry. I've done journal writing. I've done gratitude stuff. I've done, you know, the hard stuff. I've done lyrics. I've done everything I can as an outlet to figure out my truth and figure out who I am without Jim shadowing and making me doubt myself all the time. And I also have Marco Polo, so that I can Marco Polo friends like you and get stuff off my chest and just articulate things in a way that makes me feel like I'm discovering who I am instead of covering who I am. Oh, I love that. Discovering who I am instead of covering who I am. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I don't know if I showed you that one. I've never really shown anybody this stuff. I'm so in like pride with it right now. Pride? Is that the right word? I don't know. Okay, so here's what this is. It was, I think it was 2017 I started this. And because my birthday's on 4/20, I decided to make 420 truth things. I don't know what they're called. Memes or something. Posters. Quotes. I love that picture of the bicycle. But I was trying to figure out what my truth was instead of letting people speak for me or letting people think for me. And so I took a picture, like here's a picture of me, and then I would write, speak my truth. What does this one say? It says, Happy Mother's Day to me. No one has plans for me. I reserve the right to be disappointed, but I let go of the idea that someone is supposed to save me from this pain. I also let go of the urge to change my mind to match the mood of others. I can be upset. That's okay. No need to enmesh. That's not okay. And I basically just have 420 different little pictures with its own thing. By questioning my automatic negative thoughts, I stop myself from spiraling into the abyss. And maybe a lot of these have changed for me. Maybe I don't feel these things anymore, but I had to discover who I was through all of it. Sometimes I feel like giving up, but I just can't. It isn't in my blood. I need somebody now. Somebody help me out. I'm drowning and I can't breathe. Help me. And I got, you know, just all these different things, whether they be my own images or someone else's. I don't know why I'm sharing all this. I'm sure this is not very exciting. Are you coming out here, Tink? I mean, in here? Tinkerbell, you're just going to bug me, so come on here now. Come on, Tink. It's almost 2 in the morning. I gotta be quiet. Jim's sleeping. The kids are probably about ready to go to bed if they're not already sleeping. Why am I having such a hard time sleeping? If I'm being honest, I think I'm struggling the most right now because... Tink, come on. I think I'm struggling a lot right now because I dared to trust Jim again, to the point where I thought we were getting better and I thought we were healing and climbing this metaphorical mountain to a better marriage. And when he got upset about something stupid, not one time but 3 times on Monday night, it was so stupid. I didn't do anything wrong. He admitted all 3 times that I did nothing wrong, yet every time he got upset, he continued to blame me for being upset that he's upset. Like, okay, if I did nothing wrong, then you shouldn't be upset. It was such a back and forth fight. And basically what that fight told me was that I cannot trust him. If the marriage is supposed to be of equal footing and equal love and equal respect, or even just better than it is, then climbing up the mountain means I should trust him, and I should be able to trust him. But I don't want to climb that mountain again. I don't want to climb that metaphorical mountain that he might push me off of again. That he might have another reaction, bad reaction, false reaction, negative reaction to something stupid again that he knows is wrong, and yet he isn't gonna be able to guarantee me that he won't do it. So I'm doomed if I stay with him. I know it's going to happen again. I know I'm going to climb up this mountain again, and he's going to let me down again. He's going to fail me again. He's going to disappoint me again. He's going to hurt me again. He's going to push me off that mountain again. Even if he doesn't mean to, even if he knows it's wrong, I know he's going to do it. Why? Because he's not healed yet from his crap. What? You want to go out again? Come on, let's go to bed. I'm too awake for you, huh? Mama's tired. Come on, Mama's tired. Tink. Alexa, turn off Tinkerbell light. I'm just to this point where I am trying to determine, how do I live a life with him if it's not climbing the mountain and if it's not being pushed off a mountain? Can I live a life with him on the ground? What does that look like? What does that mean? That means no hoping that we're getting better, just accepting that we are where we are. No happy in love, ooh, stuff like that, because when you're in that mindset, then you think everything's wonderful. Can't do that because that's part of the mountain. So by staying on the ground, it actually looks like a very lonely, boring marriage, like roommates. And neither one of us want that. So that's why I can't climb up that metaphorical mountain. Okay, you go out there. I'm not letting you back in. Good night. Good night. You want to come in here? She's just looking at me like I'm dumb. Come on, Tink. Let's go to bed. I'm not going. I'm not going anywhere. Was I confusing you because I'm really awake? Thank you. Thank you for getting in bed. Okay, it's time for bed. Thank you. Good night. All right, good night. Thanks for listening. Sorry I rambled so much, and at the same time, I'm not sorry because I'm long overdue for a ramble, and I finally did it. I finally got some things off my chest. Maybe I can go to bed now. It's almost 2 in the morning. I gotta work tomorrow morning. Yeah. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for talking to me. Bye-bye. Hello. I don't know if I've ever told you how proud I am of you. You're just doing so awesome. So if no one's told you that today, I'm telling you that. Mom, I think, needs boundaries. Mom needs to be gently reminded sometimes that she is not the center of everybody's world. And she likes to make little digs sometimes as if they're perfectly fine and innocent, but they can be hurtful. Like she said to me, she told me that Lolly told her she could come up whenever, and Mom said, don't be surprised if I just stop at your doorstep one day. And Lolly says, oh, that's fine, yeah. And Mom said in her little dig, she says, because you're the only person I know that I can just show up unannounced and not be in trouble for not giving you a heads up. And it's like, Mom, giving people a heads up that you're showing up to their house is not, it's nothing but respectful. It's nothing but respectful. And it really was fine when Mom would just pop in once in a while and say, surprise, here I am. Aren't I wonderful? Aren't I the most wonderful mom in the world to surprise you on your birthday? Or aren't I the most wonderful mom in the world to show up once every couple of months out of the blue and say hello and bring you candy or whatever she wanted to bring, right? I really don't mind once in a while surprise visits. And I don't mind if she needs to come over because she's lonely or wants to just talk or wants to hang out. But I told her when I was leaving her house the other day, I said, she goes, so if I want to come over, do I have to call ahead of time? I go, Mom, can you please not look at it like me trying to punish you or something? It's not about that. It's that I've got stress at work. I've got stress with Jim. I got stress with kids. I've got stress with, whatever I'm going through. And sometimes I just want to be alone. So when I think I have alone time for just a few minutes, like I did the other day, I thought I had just a few minutes of alone time. I sit down and I'm in my room and my door is locked and I'm just about ready to listen to some music or meditate or whatever I'm about to do. And all of a sudden I hear ding dong and the dogs start barking, 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 barking. I close my eyes and I'm like, please let it be the neighbor. Please let it be the neighbor. Please let it be the neighbor. And Jim always goes to the door because he always has to know who it is. And as soon as he opens the door, I hear Mom's voice. And then Jim comes to my room, knock, knock, and he's like, your mom's here. And if it didn't bother him so much that she comes over so often, it would make my life a little less stressful. But seriously, I was about ready to have some alone time, right? And does she care or consider that or anything? No, she doesn't. She wants the world to revolve around her. She's that lonely or she's that self-consumed or whatever that she wants the world to revolve around her. Now, on the off chance that you show her this Marco Polo, which is what she insinuated happened, I don't know if that happened or if she's assuming that you and I Marco Polo'd each other. I don't know what happened. But on the off chance that you do, because you're free to do what you want, and I'm bad-mouthing her right now, I guess. I trust that you wouldn't, but at the same time, I wouldn't blame you if you're trying to get your point across to Mom in a gentle way. I don't think this would be the gentle way to do it, so I don't recommend you showing this to her. But on the off chance that you show it to her, I do love Mom, and I do love seeing her, and I do go out of my way to make sure I see her, and I do go out of my way to make sure she feels loved when she's here, and that I don't roll my eyes when she comes over all the time, and I don't make her feel unwelcome, and I don't pick fights with her. I don't do any of those things that she's expecting someone to do that doesn't want to see her, because I do want to see her. I would just like that little bit of respect where she can say, hey, I'm not doing anything for the next few hours. What are you doing? And then I can decide at that time, well, Mom, actually, I was just going to sit down and do my own thing. But you know what? I'd rather see you. Or you know what, Mom? I'd rather have an opportunity to make that decision rather than having her make that decision for me. That's probably the best way I could say it. Because I'm not going to turn her away. And then that kind of brings me to my point. I went to Utah recently. And we spent over $500 on hotel rooms. It was 8 different nights on hotel rooms, and it was about $580, right? For all 8 different nights at different hotels. And the reason why I bring this up is because in all the years I've ever gone up to Utah, I've never had to spend money on hotels. Hotels to me was a waste of money. It was a waste of money because at any point in Utah, I always had family I could stay with. I could stay in Laverkin or Hurricane with the Howards. I could be in Salt Lake. I could be in Pocatello. I could be in American Fork or, Orem or St. South Jordan. I mean, so many different trails all the way up to Pocatello and back if I wanted to. And I always had family I could stay with. I always felt welcome enough to stay with them. I just need to call them ahead of time, let them know, see if they're going to be there, see if they have the room, see if they're cool with it. If they're not, I find somebody else. I'm totally respectful that way. The problem with the most recent times of COVID and all that stuff was I knew I was coming up. I knew if I called anybody, they would either A, feel obligated, or B, feel shitty about themselves if they asserted a boundary, such as, no, actually, we aren't doing any visitors, we are quarantining, or are you sick, or how do you feel, or you know what? Like, it would be the most awkward conversation, either for me or for them or both. And I don't want to put anybody through any awkwardness. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to let me stay there if they're silently suffering this. Oh crap, I wonder if they have COVID, or oh my gosh, I can't believe they're bringing this stuff in their house. And Arizona is trending, and of all these trending, Arizona is climbing on all their numbers, and I'm letting these guys from Arizona stay in their house. I must be crazy, but they're family. I can't turn them away. Whatever thoughts would be going in their mind while we're sleeping in their guest bed or whatever, it didn't sit well with me, the guilt or the obligation that I was asking them to take on. And I wouldn't, of course, expect anyone to have firm boundaries in a family full of guilt trippers and, you know, oh, your family, of course, come on. Like, they're super sweet people, but they're also, what do you call it? Passive aggressive, codependent, whatever. I don't know if I'm saying these words right, but what I'm trying to say is that whether it's COVID related, like Kalissa's boundaries are right now, or maybe it's just stress related, like my boundaries are right now. Mom, it would just be nice, instead of just popping over and expecting people to just welcome you with open arms like they used to in the olden days, or whatever you remember people being like, try to think of what other people might be going through. Just give them a heads up. Hey, I'm not doing anything the next couple hours. You want to go with me? Can I come over? We can hang out. Maybe you want me to schedule it for tomorrow or the next day. Or I don't want mom to feel like she's not welcome, like she was digging at when she was telling me about Lolly's thing. But I just think it's flat rude and disrespectful for her to assume that she has to come before my own needs. And if my own needs is to take care of my mental health, and she interrupts that because she's got her things that she wants, it's like, well, who says you come first? If she's in an emergency situation, or she's feeling super triggered, or she's like, you know what, I'm lonely and I could really use somebody, Crystal, can I come over in a couple hours? That's all she's got to say. Or I'm going to come over for the next 20 minutes. Are you cool with that? Or can you just talk to me over the phone? Or can you meet me somewhere? It doesn't have to be this surprise. It can be a happy medium. It can be a negotiation. I'm talking your ear off, and I hope it was not terrible for me to talk your ear off. Maybe you welcome the distraction conversation. Maybe it was too much, but I just wanted to say thank you for opening this dialogue with mom, because I think it helps put her in her place just a little bit. And we all need to be put in our place sometimes, gently, and of course, honestly, because if we're all walking around like we're fake and all that, I think it's great that you make a 45-minute trip to go see her. And for whatever reason you do that, whether you feel obligated to, or because you want to, or because you know she would love it, or however, whatever sits well with you, okay? And if she made the 45-minute trip to come see you as often as she comes and sees me, I'm sure at some point you might be like, okay, mom, let's put you on a schedule. Let's put you on a leash. Let's make this a little bit more reasonable for both of us, because I can't just have you showing up when me and my husband are about ready to make love, or when we're about ready to sit down and have dinner and watch a movie, and you show up and you want to talk for 45 minutes. It's like, okay, mom. Just respect that other people have other things going on. It's not always about Mary. It's not always the Mary show. I don't hate her. I haven't learned how to stand up to her like I'm speaking. So you're giving me a way to practice what I'm feeling, or practice articulating how I feel. And I think I did a decent job the other day without making her feel like crap about it. I was really just trying to express, if you have an emergency, definitely come over. Call me. Let me know you're coming over. I'm not saying you have to call me before you come over. It's not like you're a child, mom. It's just a respectful, mature thing to do. Why do I keep re-explaining myself? I guess I just gotta say it a few times so that it sticks in my head. Sorry, I'm just gonna shut up now. Anyways, I love you, and I'm not mad or anything. I just wanted to clarify what was going on, and what Marco Polo she saw, and what she's, I want to interpret what she heard. I want to hear what I said and then interpret it in her mind, rehear it from her perspective. Because I'm like, if I know what Marco Polo she thinks she heard, then that might really be helpful. But anyways, I'll talk to you later. Love you, bye.